Okay, now this is one of the more interesting topics that we've ever done on the show. It's Dr. Jack Brown, who's a body language expert. And I've been sitting here during our last interview kind of like this, my legs crossed. That mean anything?
Well, for you in the extended sitting position, that's a lot of times a comfort thing.
Right.
But if a person goes from a foot planted on the ground to this,
right,
to this, to this, progressively, they're withdrawing from they're withdrawing and they're getting a little bit more defensive and closed off. But for you sitting like this in for an extended time, that's certainly a comfort issue. A lot of things with body language are very contextual. It's not one thing means another thing all the time. And you have to also cluster it, and it's called clustering, where you look and you see 2 or 3 or 4 things, and they all should be consistent. They all should be mean the same thing. With you have a high degree of confidence that what you're thinking, is this person defensive? Is this person attracted to me? Is this person lying? They should all point in the same direction. So if you only see one, you have a low degree of confidence. You should see 2 or 3 or 4.
Right,
that's called clustering.
So it'll kind of come together and cluster together, give you an
novices will look at
indication.
one thing and they'll say make a judgment. But when you get more skilled at it, you'll see 2 or 3 or 4 in a glance. Much like a basketball player knows where everyone is in the floor.
Right, now sitting next to you is Christian Lemoyne, who is our producer, who is going to be a non-willing model or whatever subject, I guess, because Christian's going to be sitting there, and from time to time, if you have an observation you can make about her body language, that would be interesting. Okay, now, I should say a little bit about your background. You are a physician, right? You're an ophthalmologist.
Correct.
And how did this all originate from, studying the eye?
Well, no, I became interested in it as a young teenager, 11 or 12.
Trying to pick up girls and see if they liked you or not, right?
Not really, no. It's when you're going out into the world, I became interested in the emotion and the quality of sincerity, and looking at adults, seeing who's sincere and who's not sincere. And that's how I first became interested in thin slicing that. People that are better at it, there's a whole list of things that people tend to be better at, body language. Women tend to be better than men. Folks who are raised in large families tend to be better. People who are raised around pets, especially large pets they have to care for, like horses and dogs, tend to be better.
When you say tend to be better, what does tend to be better at what?
These are just statistical tendencies where people are better at body language, tend to have almost a skill who's better at it. Anything that engenders the quality of empathy in a person, especially when they're younger, that person will tend to be better at interpreting body language and projecting the right body language of their self in the right time, in the right context.
Hey, let's get to the important part here, okay? How do you know when somebody is interested in you? Let's talk about women first. If you're a guy and you're sitting at a bar and you want to know if a woman is interested in you, what would be some...
Kristen doesn't have the right shoes on,
right?
But if a lady, if say there's a round table and we're at a coffee shop and we see a couple over there, we invite them over our table and there's 2 guys and 2 girls. You look underneath the table and you look at where the feet are pointed. Your feet are pointed to the people you find the most attractive or the people that command the most authority. So if an ex-president walked in the room, we'd all face towards them, and our feet would be faced towards him. But in that context, where your feet are pointed, it tends to be the person you find most attractive. Another one, Kristen doesn't have the right shoes on for it, but I'll use my shoes. So a shoe dangle like this, when she's playing with her foot like that, that's a sign of attraction. So I would be, if I was a lady, I'd be attracted to you pointing and dangling my shoe like that. It's called the shoe dangle. That's a classic. Another one that I noticed when I was a young teenager is, and you go on a date, I would always hug a girl because you can tell by a hug, as a teenager, you really, the quality of a kiss, you don't have a good level of experience there to tell a good kiss from a bad kiss necessarily. But a hug, you can always tell when the lady is attracted to you. So if Chris and I went on a date and she wasn't really attracted to me, she would hug like this. She'd lean forward and our hips would be far apart.
Hold on. Now, she was just patting your shoulder while she was hugging you. I caught it from this side, this camera angle. So what does that mean?
That means it's a sign that people are, it's like in wrestling, it's a sign that let go. I'm uncomfortable with the length of the hug, and so naturally we're on camera and we don't know each other that way.
And were you uncomfortable?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's a common thing. The other thing is eye closure. If people close their eyes, now you can't see their eyes if they're hugging you.
Right.
But if you see a couple hugging, say a husband and a wife hugging, and their hips aren't very close together. Now, if she was attracted to me, her hips would be right up close to mine. It would be frontal touching with that hug. That's a sign of sexual attraction.
Right.
So.
Now, because you said something earlier about that you can, or you implied that something can be happening physically, but you can be thinking about something else mentally. Like, for instance, as an example, you're not feeling well today, so you're a little bit under the weather, right? So when Christian is hugging you, maybe maybe she is attracted to you, but she's thinking about, well, he's got a cold, and I don't want to get too close.
Correct. You have to. When you see body language, it's a real-time, and I want to emphasize that and repeat it, it's a real-time manifestation of what the person is feeling in their emotional brain. So, maybe Kristen is attracted to me, but she doesn't want to get my virus. So, so the uncomfortableness that we see, you're exactly right. She might not want to, get my virus, but she might really be attracted to me. So you have to be careful in interpreting, or let's say, I noticed some signs of anxiety on you, and you might have forgot to make your house payment, and you just remembered it when we were talking about something that was fairly important between us. And if I'm not careful, I can say, oh, Ed's feeling anxiety about what we're talking about. But really, you are truly feeling anxiety, but you're feeling it about something else. So you have to be able to contextualize that. And then you go back and you use the Socratic method to ask questions, and you kind of dive deeper, and then you can get to the bottom of that.
What about the hair thing? They say when a woman is playing with her hair that she's interested in a guy.
Well, more the front of the head and around the ear tends to be more anxiety related. But if a lady's like this, and this is somewhat also true for the guy, but it's more true for a lady. If a lady's doing this, she's playing with her hair. That's called preening, and it's the back part. Her armpit is exposed, and there are people that the scientists that feel there's a pheromone release there. So she's releasing pheromones from her armpit.
For better or worse.
Yeah, and also there's the extension and the display of the breasts. So that's a very sexually provocative move. If a lady does that in your direction, especially if she's closer to you, if there's other gentlemen in between you, it's difficult to maybe figure out who she's pointing at. But if a lady does that close to you, there's some sexual attraction there.
Do you ever do anything like that consciously, Christian?
No, but I'm going to start doing it.
And how about men? What kind of signals do men use to demonstrate an interest in a woman?
Men are largely brain dead when it comes to that. Especially, in general, men are a lot worse than women. A lady that goes through, let's say, a 10-year marriage and then she's divorced, she takes on she gets brain dead in that area. She might be very socially adept and skilled and make a good living and otherwise very skilled and successful person. But when a lady or a man goes through a long marriage and then they're divorced, especially if they're at the bad end of infidelity, their confidence and their ability to tell body language drops off. But men are largely brain dead. And most men think they're initiators, but 90% of the time, a lady is sending the signal. A lady is sending the signal of sexual interest, and a guy gets up and walks across the room, and he thinks he's being the guy in charge and the guy in the room and with all that testosterone.
But she's subtly saying, come on over. She
sends signals. So 90% of the time, it's the lady sending the signals.
And I want to talk to two more, because we have so much to talk about. We're running out of time here. Talk to me about the eyes and about smile.
Okay. A smile is, you can't read in any anatomy book in any medical school. I find very interesting what a sincere smile is. A sincere smile, people think it's with the mouth, and certainly the mouth is a component of a smile. Your lower teeth shouldn't be showing in a smile. It's only your upper teeth that should be showing in a smile. But the eyes are the leaders in a smile. Your eyelids should be closer together. After 35 or so, everyone has some degree of crow's feet. People will talk about you should see crow's feet when you smile, but it's difficult if you focus there. What it is really the eyelids get closer together. The eyelids will close in a sincere smile, and the upper teeth will be exposed. So I coach people that have difficulty with a sincere smile, or have to have a sincere smile on demand, to think with their eyes, to lead with the eyes, and the mouth will follow. If you do it that way, and if you do that alone in your house in the mirror, you'll crack yourself up. People will often go into a laughter phase with that. It's an interesting thing. When you see an insincere smile, there's a whole lot of false smiles or insincere smiles. People, when they smile only one side of their mouth, that's a sign of insincerity. When they're smiling on one side of their mouth.
Christian was smiling just then. Her upper teeth were showing, and her eyes were closing a little bit. You know, it was
that's a good smile. That's a very sincere smile. And of course, when the smile goes into laughter, laughter is hard to fake. Even an amateur can tell a fake laugh. Right. But that sincere laughter coupled with the sincere smile.
So politicians typically master this insincere smile?
Generally speaking, they don't.
No.
Or the insincere smile, yes.
Insincere,
they're very good at the insincere smile, but they're not good at the sincere smile. And again, I find it ironic that you can't even open a medical book and find that in any kind of what is a sincere smile and what is an insincere smile. The only place you can really find it is a psychology book that's addressing body language.
We got a minute left. I could go for hours with you on this. Give me a quick two-word statement on the smile of George W. Bush. Sincere, insincere, generally.
Generally speaking, he's a pretty sincere smile.
Okay. Bill Clinton.
Very sincere smile. Bill Clinton's a master. He has ability to make you feel like you're the only one in the universe when you talk to him.
Barack Obama.
Pretty sincere, but it's very contextual. I would like to see the
I understand.
The incident where they're smiling at, because everyone can smile.
Yeah. Well, next time you have to come back, we'll have to bring some video, and you have to then go through it, and we'll talk about it. You're writing a book, and when you come back and write the book, and we'll talk about it. It's just Dr. Jack Brown, and we have a website somewhere. If not, we'll tell you where. We'll connect you. Come to our website, and we'll find you somewhere. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You never told me what this means, but
that's a sign of high degree of confidence.
Okay. There's a guy that knows.
You don't want to do that too much.
Thanks.